On this week's show, can Pixar's latest be incredible the second time around? We wrap up our thoughts on E3 2018 and why is Sony messing up Fortnite? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. Thank you as always for tuning into our show each and every week. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is the Supreme Commander, Legacy Holder, President, all-knowing, all-seeing deity of whatever of Humanica Media. You got to check out all the great things that he's got going on today at humanicamedia.com, also Humanica Media on YouTube, and all of their podcast outlets. It's my good friend. It's Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
Hey, just, icing the old feet from a long week at E3 2018.
You are the envy of many a person on social media from what I have seen. I'm glad you had a great time. And both you, Chad Smith, also as well. You had Douglas, Nicole, Louise from Retro City Games. Glad all of you had such a great time this week at E3, checking out all the games, going to all the interviews and the behind the scenes stuff. So it's great to hear that you had an awesome time at E3 2018. But I will say it's going to be a great episode we have for you today. We've got our thoughts coming up on this weekend's big hit at the theaters. It's out right now. It is Incredibles 2. How successful will it be? We'll share our thoughts on what the early prognosis is and where it goes from here. Will it be another big hit? Will it be another big hit for Pixar? We'll give you the insight on that. Also, as well, we're going to go into detail on this week at E3 2018, our thoughts on all the conferences that we didn't cover on Monday's show, including PlayStation, Nintendo. We cover more on Bethesda, Square Enix, EA. We cover all that. We know you got a chance to check out the Xbox conference, our thoughts on that on Monday's show. This will be wrapping up everything else in a nice, tidy bow. And then on the back end, there's some controversy about PlayStation when it comes to the most popular game right now on the planet. And we'll talk about more about that at the end of the program. But first, Josh, 14 years later, my friend, way overdue in my opinion, but The Incredibles are back in The Incredibles 2 this weekend. Right now, it's opening. It's all over the place at theaters. I'm so excited. I hope to see it this weekend or as soon as I can get my eyes on it. What are your thoughts on The Incredibles 2 coming out this weekend and the outlook for Pixar? Because it's pretty strong right now. A lot of great reviews, outstanding, in fact, at several different outlets, plus also as well a projected box office closing in on $150 million this weekend at the domestic box office.
Yeah, I heard that it had set some kind of record for Disney as far as ticket sales, pre-ticket sales, stuff like that. It's interesting because it's been so long since the first one came out, yet the level of hype is just so high for this movie. And from what I've understood, I talked to people about this, and what they say is that it's the perfect superhero movie. And they describe it to me like this because it starts and it stops, and you don't have to worry about there being another 20 films to watch before you finally get some resolution to the overall arc. And I totally understand that. But yeah, it's just crazy how it has such a cult following and everybody's so excited about it. And I wonder if Disney will try to do another one, or if they'll do spin-offs, or if they're going to make another one, are they going to wait another 10, 12 years to do it? I know Brad Bird that's the guy Brad Bird's a director. He's not too fond of doing sequels. Like, he barely even wanted to do this one. And now that he's doing this one, everyone's asking him, are you going to do Iron Giant 2 and so on and so forth? And he says that he only wants to do sequels to his films if there's a good story, and not more often than not, there's not a good story. So I'm excited, man. I wanna see it. I love the first one, and, like, this is just one of those things really, like, with the exception of, like, Cars 2 or 3 and Airplanes or whatever, Pixar really just does a good job of maintaining the goodwill of the people even this many years later.
Quick fun fact: Brad Bird, the director of Incredibles, is actually the voice of Edna, the costume maker in both Incredibles 1 and 2, just to give you a heads up. So,
Whoa, fun facts with Gerald.
fun facts with Gerald indeed, but it is The Incredibles 2. It's coming out this weekend. I'm excited for it. As I've said in the past couple weeks already, it is my favorite, and I believe it is the overall best movie of the entire Pixar library. And I know that's saying something because everybody loves the Toy Story movies. I personally love those too, but I think The Incredibles is a little bit better and ages and has aged a little bit better than the Toy Story movies or any of the other movies for that matter. And that's why I think it is so beloved and people were so excited about this movie finally getting a sequel is because of how well that movie aged. It still looks good. I watched it the other day again, and I'll tell you what, it would hold up. The original would hold up and actually still be a box office hit today if it came out. I am just so excited, like I said, for The Incredibles 2. It is something that I think a lot of people are going to latch on to. I think it will actually garner probably what 400 million worldwide in its first week of release. I know a lot of people are really in tune with it. Its competition mainly will come from Tag and also as well Ocean's 8 in its second week, but those movies will not be even close to what Incredibles 2 because I think at this point in time, Incredibles 2 is not only going to be a big hit, it will actually revitalize people's thoughts about where Disney is going from here and take the bad taste out of Solo, a Star Wars story, out of their mouth. Just because we all know because we all know how badly that one performed at the box office and is still underperforming as of this point in time. My thoughts. I want to ask you this, Josh. Like I said, it's supposed to be a big hit this weekend. It's obviously going to be at this point doing very well because it's garnered so much acclaim and also as well a lot of excitement and pre-advanced sales. What does this mean for other movies in the Pixar library getting more sequels outside of a Toy Story 4 and maybe even at this point in time an Incredibles 3? Do you see any more sequels coming up in the Pixar library that you could point out to and say, yeah, that's something that would be a winner from there? Cars really hasn't done it for me as well. I know they've gone through 3, but a lot of people like me have been like, okay, I don't know how it got to 3. They were really never that great to begin with, but they seem to make enough money to warrant it. Are there any other movies in the Pixar library that you would like to see get a sequel or get something that maybe reimagined or get some new love from a whole bunch of people out there?
Disney has a bad reputation with sequels, not just in Pixar because the Pixar ones are to have this tendency to be bad, except for Finding Dory. For some reason, people ate that up a lot. But yeah, Cars 2, Cars 3, they performed well, but they did not do as well as their successors. Same thing with Planes. Like I don't know why they decided to make a spinoff of Cars, but they kind of get carried away sometimes with their Pixar sequels. But you look at Mulan 2, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, Aladdin 2 and 3. Aladdin 2 is actually okay, but
Well, those are Disney pictures. In fact, even Planes is also, I believe, a Disney, even though it's related, kind of like in the Cars universe, it is a Disney animation movie as opposed to a Pixar one.
well, Incredibles is Disney slash Pixar though, right?
I think it was Pixar before Disney bought it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, at this point in time, yes, Disney makes the money off of it, just like Star Wars. I mean, you could say at this point in time, the prequels to the Star Wars movies were before Disney got their hands on it. But where does the check go now as far as residuals on that movie?
Yeah, well, anyways, I think that there'd have to be a good story, and like I Disney, Pixar, whatever, they're like you have to not know when is the right time to make this movie? When is the time for people? When are people gonna wanna watch it, or are we just putting something out for, the hell of it? Like, it really is like, you need to know they just gotta do research, know if the movie's gonna make money, try to find out if there's a desire for the film, and if there is a desire for the film, you wanna make sure you're giving the fans the film that they want, which is something that neither Disney I guess Pixar do with Finding Dory, but, like, Disney itself has not been known to do. Just look at how washed up the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are, no pun intended.
Sound like a pun indeed. But I will say that Monsters Inc. and Monsters University, obviously, that came out back to back. Did okay at both of them at the box office. They're somewhat thought of as far as being successful films. I could see possibly a from the actual Pixar movies, maybe a Brave, maybe a Wall-E. I'm not sure. If one of those, maybe you could relate into a sequel. Maybe even Inside Out. Inside Out is the most successful of the actual movies that doesn't have a sequel in the Pixar universe. So if any of them, I would probably say Inside Out would probably have a sequel or warrant such a sequel, because the first one did $350 million plus here in the United States and did 850 worldwide. So that alone probably would generate a possible sequel for that movie. But if anything, it just goes to show you that Pixar really knows how to share the love for the fans and keep on putting out solid movies time in and time out, with only a few exceptions. And at this point in time, Incredibles 2 is garnering massive critical appeal, and it looks like it's also, by the end of the weekend, going to be accruing some massive fan appeal as well. What are your thoughts on The Incredibles 2? Are you heading out this weekend to go see it? Did you like the first one as much as we did? And are you excited to see it again one more time in a sequel? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, no guests this week, no Rob McCallum or any other guests this week are appearing on the show. But if you want to check out what Rob and I have talked about recently, and also as a tribute to one of Rob's good friends who appeared in his Nintendo Quest, in his Nintendo Quest film, the late Sid Bolton, who is recognized as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, video game collector in Canada's history. Unfortunately, his untimely passing has caused a lot of sadness with not only Rob, but also his Nintendo Quest co-star, Jay Bartlett. We talk about what his effect means as far as to Rob, and how it affected him and his untimely death. And we also talk about DC Films, all the upheaval there. We also talk about Anthony Bourdain and his life, as far as what what Rob's memories are of all the things that Anthony has done. We talk about that and a whole lot more on this week, on the latest Cosmic Crossfire. It's a full episode that's available right now on the Pop Culture Cosmos Podbean channel, Pop Culture Cosmos channel, available right now by subscribing to Podbean, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast outlet. So hopefully you get a chance to check that out today and hear Rob's thoughts on Sid, Anthony Bourdain, and so much more. Just hopefully you get a chance to check that out. But like I said, we're going to be talking for the rest of the show about a lot of stuff going on in the video game world, because E3 2018 was this week. We were so excited to share our immediate thoughts on the conferences at E3 2018. We just hooked up the mobiles and basically got everything out there as best we could off of our mobile devices and whatnot. So it's not quite our best sounding stuff, but you'll still be able to get the gist of it. I'm pretty sure of that. So hopefully you will enjoy our talk on E3 2018. Then afterwards, we're coming back to close out the show to talk about the PlayStation Fortnite controversy and what is PlayStation thinking now, and why are they so stubborn as far as not changing and evolving with the times once again. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. Just want to let you know we are on online radio 7 days a week. If you want to check out our schedule, please if you want to check out our schedule, all you have to do is just check it out today on our Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page or our Twitter account at Pop Culture Cosmo. And don't forget, if you want a great deal on some awesome barbecue sauce, rubs, and seasonings, check out our friends at wheelieq.com today. And if you like something that's there upon your checkout, please type in the code POD2, that's POD2, and you'll get an extra 15% off your purchase at wheelieq.com. Josh, I know you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media, so fill me in. So fill everyone in on what's going on with your awesome experience known as Humanica Media.
Well, it's funny you asked that. Yeah, we just reached episode 50 on Topic Apocalypse. Gerald in post will insert fireworks and people yelling, yeah, and all kinds of post production that might take like 2 hours max minimum.
I'll do the fireworks. How about that?
Yeah. No worries. There doesn't have to be fireworks. Only if you want to. Unless you're feeling guilty. But anyways, yeah. So, yeah, we reached episode 50 with that, and we have a couple E3 Topic Apocalypse episodes going up, which will also be put into the Pop Culture Cosmos Podbean channel. So stay tuned for that. And also, okay, never mind. That's it. I'm sorry. I thought I had more to say than that, but that's it, guys.
Well, I spoke to Charles and asked him if he was going to do anything next week for Inside Sports. He hasn't quite told me yes or no yet, but whether or not he does, it doesn't matter. Hopefully he does. If he does not, I'm going to have a conversation with Anthony Barber and hopefully, or someone that we can talk to in regards to the NBA draft coming up next week and also coming up on NBA free agency. So look for that coming up on one of our shows or in its own show on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel. And you may be able to look for it on an upcoming Inside Sports as well. Josh, I want to make sure before we head on out, we address the controversy that PlayStation, for so long, in this current generation, they were making all the right moves. From the disc sharing thing way back at that E3 press conference now so many years ago, to their way they were treating their online network, the PS Plus free games, they were seemingly doing everything right. And obviously it's gotten to the point where they're virtually at selling 80, they're close to 80 million sold when it comes to PlayStation 4s worldwide. They've done an outstanding job of promoting their product, of making it very gamer friendly. But the one area where they've always shown a reluctance to change and evolve is crossplay. And what I mean by crossplay is you take let's say Call of Duty, and Call of Duty, you're playing it on the PC. If you have true crossplay, you'll be able to play it with anyone on an Xbox and anyone on any other platform, which would normally include the PlayStation 4. So you could all play with each other, even if you're on different platforms. Sony. PlayStation, over the course of time, especially in this generation, when crossplay is now more of a reality and now more of an expectation than any other time in video game history, it's still reluctant to go ahead and actually make themselves crossplay across the board with pretty much any game, much less every game. And it has come to our attention and seeing online the issues with Fortnite, which has just announced it has garnered over 125 million players in less than a year, which is truly amazing. They just announced this week that you can now play it on the Nintendo Switch. In less than 24 hours, it garnered an additional 2 million players on the Switch. But they had a little issue is once everybody started hooking up on the Switch, if you create an account originally on the PlayStation 4, you are not able to translate that information over to the Switch. And on top of that, your PlayStation 4 account was actually kind of not working as well, from what I understand. And you could not be able to still play cross-play with anyone on PlayStation 4. Xbox One has always maintained an openness when it comes to cross-platform play, and now Nintendo looks to be doing somewhat as well. So I ask you, Josh, why doesn't PlayStation get it? Even if a company so backwards in its online thinking as Nintendo is, gets it. But at this point in time, as we're recording this, PlayStation still has not found a way to get themselves together and realize that they need to just get out of the dark ages and go ahead and still let people play in a cross-platform format, and just let go of the fact that, yes, people will like your system even if you go ahead and can play with someone else who's on a different one.
Yeah, it seems like there's a fear there for Sony, and I don't know if it's because they like to practice those isolation policies or if it's just a unwillingness to work with anybody outside of their own company. But yeah,
It sort of has its political ramifications as far as its overtones on that, don't you think?
I think so, because here's where what I believe personally. I believe that a lot of people who play this might be in Sony's perspective. A lot of people that play PlayStation have one other console. They have an Xbox. A lot of the people that I know that play like PlayStation, they also have an Xbox One. So when you throw them the option of cross-platform play, maybe it's the fear that they're gonna go and play play on another console or something. But then again, they're gonna play on another console. It seems like they would play on another console anyway. So maybe there's a fear of them taking one profile, moving over to the Xbox or moving over to the Switch. I don't know, but they're not gonna get anywhere with this because if Nintendo is playing ball, Nintendo has the goodwill of the people right now. People love the Nintendo Switch, and if Nintendo Switch has Fortnite on it, which it does, uh, I don't know what Sony needs to get in the game because they are in fact losing. They're gonna start losing people, and I don't know why I don't know why they're doing this, but it was the same thing last year with what was it, Minecraft, and they said we don't want our community interacting with the Xbox community because there's a lot of bullying. We don't Microsoft's community is full of bullies or something like that. So I haven't read any comments personally, but yeah, I just there hasn't as far as I know there hasn't been any talk of bullying, but it's frustrating. I'm not even a Fortnite fan, but I hate Sony's got a lot of good stuff, but I just hate that are they have this, like, snobby aura about them that they think that they're, like, the pinnacle of gaming, but here, lo and behold, Nintendo and maybe Xbox, if they have a good year, are gonna start, climbing the ranks up to, the upper echelon of gaming here soon.
What makes it so much funnier is that even if you play it on the Nintendo Switch, you are getting a substandard version of Fortnite. The frame rate is slower, and also as well, you're missing one of the modes. I think the Save the World mode is not available on the Nintendo Switch on Fortnite on Nintendo Switch as of this point in time. But people like to use the Nintendo Switch because of the portability. So if they can play Fortnite on the go, I can understand that. They'll take a truncated version of the game. Hey, they play it all the time on mobile now these days, so they probably can do the same with Nintendo Switch without any issues or problems. So people are obviously People are obviously really intrigued right now about wanting to play it on the Nintendo Switch, and it is the world's most popular game right now. It makes absolutely no sense for you to go out of your way and be so reluctant to open up your platform, especially when it concerns the most popular video game on the planet. And Sony, I think, is making a terrible mistake in not opening up their platforms, not only to all games, but especially the largest video game, the biggest video game on the planet right now, especially and you know what this does? This creates a lot of eyes on PlayStation for the future going forward, and a lot of future possible demands for the Activisions of the world, the EAs of the world, and also the Rockstars of the world when it comes to Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Red Dead Redemption 2, all wanting crossplay. And if they don't get it, they may have a hard time trying to go ahead and make everything hunky dory between those companies and PlayStation, which could be bad for gamers as well.
Yeah, it's, like I said, I don't they it sounds like they're just making up excuses now for not wanting to do it, but it's causing a lot of backlash. And soon, these people, they want to play Fortnite with their friends. That's why people play Fortnite. They don't You're isolating your fans within the Sony community, but what happens when all these kids who have Fortnite start playing on the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox and the PC and stuff like that? And, you people are going they're not gonna wanna do it, but people are slowly gonna start leaving Sony to play Fortnite on other consoles. So, I think it's a bad idea, and I wish that they would kinda step, like you said, step out of the dark age. It seems like it's a good way to lose a fan base. And just like with Minecraft, these policies are going to be, because I think the future is in crossplay, and Microsoft's investing in it. So is Nintendo. Pretty soon, we're going to see people playing Call of Duty and Battlefield and stuff across different consoles and PC and stuff like that. And Sony's going to be in the dark, and this probably is going to work to Microsoft's advantage. But we'll just have to wait and see.
It just goes to show you that if you're caught flat-footed and you're caught behind, that you're going to be left behind when it comes to the video game marketplace. And I'm telling you right now, the eyes of the video game world are on Sony and how it's reacting to this, because it could be bad signs down the road for them when it comes to some of the bigger games and some of the bigger launches and releases. Maybe they'll hold back. Maybe they'll want to do delayed releases. There's going to be some fallout for this if they continually make it hard for players to play Fortnite on the PlayStation 4. What are your thoughts out there on the Fortnite PlayStation controversy? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, on our Monday show, we're definitely going to be talking about what happened with The Incredibles 2 this weekend at the box office. We're expecting big things. I know Josh is. I know I am as well. And hopefully we'll have our thoughts and a review of the movie as well. Any last thoughts on the way out, my friend?
I'm going to be putting up a lot of E3 stuff this weekend, so be checking out the old YouTube channels and the Podbean channels, and you'll get your fill. If you weren't there, you'll get some in-depth from the ground floor E3 stuff.
Well, that's awesome. I know you got a taste of it now that we put on our social media outlets at Humanica Media, Game Source, and also Pop Culture Cosmos. Check that out. It's a nice little music video to one of Chad Smith's songs that it really ties into it. It really is cool. So you got to check that out. But look for more great stuff on E3 2018 from all of us at Humanica Media, Game Source, and of course, right here at Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.